I'm 34 now, and when I run the numbers on what I could have if I'd known these five things at 22, the gap is staggering. Not a little bit more, not marginally better off. We're talking a six-figure difference between where I am and where I could have been. The worst part isn't the money I didn't make. It's the years I wasted believing things that seemed obviously true, but were completely wrong. These aren't tips. These aren't hacks. These are fundamental rules about how money actually works that nobody tells you when you're young because either they don't know or they assume you'll figure it out. I didn't figure it out. I learned them the expensive way. So here's what I wish someone had sat me down and explained when I was 22 and thought I had everything figured out. Rule 1, and this is the one that costs me the most. Your first financial goal isn't to make more money, it's to make your money indestructible. When you're 22 and you start making real paychecks, your instinct is to celebrate, get a nicer place, buy a car, upgrade your life. You feel like you've earned it, and maybe you have, but that's not the game you should be playing yet. At 22, your only job is to build a foundation that can't be destroyed by normal life chaos. That means an emergency fund that covers at least 4 months of expenses, not $400 in a savings account you dip into whenever something comes up. It means having zero high-interest debt, not carrying a balance on 3 credit cards while making minimum payments. It means having insurance that actually protects you, not just the cheapest policy you could find. I didn't do this. I made decent money right out of college and I immediately upgraded everything. Nicer apartment, car payment, new wardrobe, going out more. Then I got laid off 8 months into the job, had about $900 saved, rent was $1,300. You can guess how that went. The next 2 years were spent climbing out of credit card debt I took on just to survive a completely predictable setback. If I'd spent that first year building indestructibility instead of lifestyle, that layoff would have been stressful but manageable. Instead, it derailed everything. Here's the math that haunts me. If I'd saved aggressively that first year, built a real safety net, and avoided the debt spiral, I'd have entered my mid-20s with momentum instead of damage control. The compound effect of that difference over 12 years is probably close to $80,000 in actual wealth I don't have. Rule 2. Time is the most valuable asset you have, and you're wasting it. At 22, you have something people in their 30s and 40s would pay anything to have back. You have decades. Decades for money to grow, decades for investments to compound, decades to recover from mistakes, and you're squandering it because it doesn't feel urgent. I thought investing was something you do later, when you have extra money, when you understand the market better, when you're more established. I was wrong about all of it. Investing isn't about having extra money. It's about deciding that some of the money you have now belongs to future you, and future you is going to multiply it. I finally started investing at 27, 5 years after I should have. If I'd started at 22, putting just $200 a month into a basic index fund, that money would be worth about $32,000 right now. By waiting until 27, I have to invest almost double to catch up to where I would have been. That's the brutal truth about time and money. It's not linear. Starting 5 years earlier doesn't give you 5 years more money. It gives you exponentially more because of compound growth. Every year you wait costs you multiple years of returns you'll never get back. The correct move at 22 is to invest something, anything, immediately, even if it's $50 a month, even if you're still figuring things out, even if it feels pointless because the amounts are small. Start the clock. Let time do the heavy lifting. Future you will either thank you or resent you, and you're deciding right now which one it'll be. Rule 3. There's no such thing as a small money decision. Every financial choice you make is either building the life you want or building the life you're stuck with. When you're 22, you think buying lunch instead of packing it is a small decision. Getting the slightly nicer apartment is a small decision. Financing a purchase instead of saving for it is a small decision. They're not small, they're pattern setting. Every time you choose convenience over discipline, you're training yourself to make that choice. Every time you choose the more expensive option because you can technically afford it, you're establishing what affordable means to you. These choices compound just like investments compound, except they compound against you. I didn't see this at 22. I made 1,000 small decisions that felt inconsequential. $7 for lunch became my default instead of packing food. Upgrading my phone every year felt normal. Buying things on payment plans seemed smart because it kept my cash flow comfortable. Each decision was defensible in isolation, but the pattern they created was someone who valued immediate comfort over future freedom. By the time I was 28, that pattern was so ingrained I didn't even question it. It took me 2 more years to recognize it and another year to actually break it. If I could go back, I'd tell 22-year-old me that there are no small money decisions. Every choice is either moving you toward financial independence or away from it. There's no neutral, and the choices you make in your early 20s set the template for the choices you'll keep making unless you actively decide to break the pattern. Rule 4. The people around you are either helping you build wealth or helping you stay broke, and you need to be ruthless about which is which. Your friends, your relationship, your social circle, they all have money patterns, and those patterns are contagious. At 22, I had friends who went out every weekend, and I went with them because that's what we did. Had a girlfriend who valued experiences over savings, and I adjusted my priorities to match. Was surrounded by people living at the edge of their income, and I thought that was normal, that everyone our age was like this. Nobody was openly bad with money. Nobody was irresponsible or reckless. They were just comfortable with a lifestyle that required every dollar they made, and being around them made me comfortable with the same thing. Their normal became my normal. It took me until 29 to realize that the people you spend time with set your financial thermostat. If everyone around you carries debt, you'll carry debt. If everyone around you spends everything they make, you'll spend everything they make. If everyone around you thinks investing is for people older and richer, you'll think the same thing. This doesn't mean dump your friends. It means be conscious of the influence. Seek out people who are building what you want to build. Join communities where saving is normal, where investing is expected, where financial independence is the goal. Balance the people pulling you toward spending with people pulling you toward building. The math on this one is harder to quantify, but I'd estimate that changing my social environment at 25 instead of 29 cost me at least 3 years of better financial decisions, 3 years of splitting expensive dinners I couldn't afford, 3 years of trips on credit cards, 3 years of normalizing patterns that kept me stuck. Rule 5, and this is the one nobody wants to hear. You're not going to out-earn your bad habits. At 22, I thought the solution to money stress was making more money, get a better job, get a raise, eventually make enough that money stops being a problem. I was chasing the number that would make everything okay. That number doesn't exist. I made $38,000 at my first job and felt broke. Made $55,000 and still felt broke. Made $72,000 and somehow still felt the same financial pressure. The problem wasn't the income. It was that my spending scaled perfectly with whatever I made. This is the trap almost everyone falls into. You think you need to make more, so you work toward making more, and when you finally make more, you spend more, and you're right back where you started. Except now you have a nicer car and a better apartment and the same amount of financial stress. You can't out-earn bad habits. If you don't fix how you handle money at $40,000, you won't magically fix it at $80,000. You'll just have more expensive problems. The skills you need aren't unlocked by income. They're practiced and built regardless of income. At 22, I needed to learn how to live below my means, how to delay gratification, how to make intentional choices instead of default choices, how to build systems that protected me from myself. Those skills would have served me at any income level. Without them, no income level was enough. If I'd understood this then, I would have focused on building the habits first and let the income growth amplify those habits instead of amplify my dysfunction. The difference in actual wealth is something I can't calculate precisely, but I know for certain I'd have at least 40 to 50,000 more right now, probably closer to 100,000 when you account for investment growth. Here's what all 5 of these rules have in common. They're all about playing a different game than you think you're playing at 22. You think you're playing the game of making money and spending money and trying to have a good time while you're young. That's not the game. That's the tutorial. The actual game is building systems and patterns and habits that create compounding returns over decades. It's about making decisions today that your future self will benefit from exponentially. It's about recognizing that time is the multiplier and you have more of it right now than you'll ever have again. I'm doing fine now. I've corrected most of the mistakes. I'm investing consistently, living below my means, making intentional choices, surrounding myself with people who reinforce good patterns. But I'm playing catch up. I'm backfilling the foundation I should have built at 22. If you're reading this and you're anywhere close to 22, you have something I don't. You have time to get this right from the start. You don't have to spend your late 20s fixing early 20s mistakes. You can just build correctly the first time. Here's what you do today. Calculate what 4 months of your expenses actually costs and commit to building that before you upgrade anything about your lifestyle. Open an investment account, even if you start with $25, and set up automatic contributions so you stop deciding and start building. Track 1 week of spending and identify the pattern you're creating, not the individual purchases. Look at the 5 people you spend the most time with and ask honestly if their money patterns are pulling you toward where you want to go.